is this mythical Logitech G29?
The Logitech G29 and G920 are both massively popular steering wheels that have really stood the test of time, but are they still worth it today? To answer that question, let's take a look at what the Logitech setup has to offer. On
I will not comment on his accent.
Amazon, the Logitech G920 and pedals are currently €235.
How much?
And if you want to get a shifter in that bundle, it jumps up to $283. For that money, you're getting a wheel that can provide up to 2 Newton meters of torque, has 900 degrees of wheel rotation, has 15 buttons and a gear-driven motor. Some of these specs are good, and others not so much. 15 buttons offers you plenty of options for customization when it
Chat? What? I thought this would be like 40 bucks. I thought it would be like $40.
comes to mapping your buttons in game.
No?
And it also makes navigating menus a breeze. 900 degrees of rotation is also pretty respectable and should suffice for most users, except maybe for those playing the likes of truck simulators who may want more rotation. And some drift cars with extra lock also have more like 1080 degrees of rotation. But as I said, 900 degrees will definitely be enough for the vast majority of situations. However, some people may find 2 Newton meters of torque to be slightly lacking when it comes to force feedback strength. Probably more so if you have it mounted in a dedicated rig rather than to a desk. And perhaps more important is the fact that the Logitech wheel uses a gear-driven motor. A gear-driven motor is clunky and loud, and in comparison to some other types of wheelbase like a direct drive, it provides much less detail and feedback as to what's actually happening beneath the car on track. The pedals are okay, but I do rate the steering wheel slightly higher than the pedals. The accelerator does the job, but it can be
Hori makes better wheels for half the price?
slightly harder to be super precise with your inputs, as it is quite a light pedal to press. The brake, it seems most people either love or hate. By default, it is quite hard to depress, which is great for modulation, but for some people it may be a bit too stiff. There are all sorts of workarounds and settings you can change though if the pedal isn't to your liking, so I wouldn't worry too much about that. The clutch pedal I actually quite like, as it has a stiffer spring than the accelerator. Lots of people even choose to swap the accelerator and clutch springs to make it easier to modulate the accelerator pedal, especially if they don't really use the clutch pedal in game. The shifter isn't terrible, and in my opinion certainly does add a degree of immersion depending on the game you're playing, but I do think it's the worst part of the set. Once again,
This is $200. OMG's like, okay, so what you want to do is go on Facebook Marketplace and look for moms selling their kids stuff. Should only take a few months to pick one. Ah! Everybody, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe to Low Effort Clips. That's right, Low Effort Clips, right here on YouTube.com. Yeah, and hit the notification bell. Yeah.